Pack members, HACKERSAURUS here, and today I will be reviewing the newest shark movie released, Deepwater. Directed by Deep Blue Sea director Rennie Harlin and produced by the Kiss Demon himself Gene Simmons, Deepwater is a movie about a group of travelers heading from LA to Shanghai aboard a plane that crashes due to a passenger's own stupidity into China's oceans. But time is running out because the parts of the plane that are not submerged from the crash are slowly sinking into mako shark-infested waters. So first of all, before we start, spoilers ahead, and what I'm about to say is not a criticism towards the movie, it is only something I have observed and it's nothing negative. This movie was clearly made to cater to the Chinese audience. Hey, cut that shit out! Sorry about that. Now, before you get angry at me and call me names down in the comments, here's what I have observed. This movie was produced by a group of Chinese producers, though I cannot recall any of their names. The passengers are headed towards Shanghai. There's a group of characters that are from an esports team that are from China and are heading back there. And the final survivors are saved by Chinese fishermen. And the fact that China is the biggest market when it comes to movies, it all adds up if you ask me. Again, it's nothing negative, it is just an observation. But now, let's get into our first part of the review, and that's the characters. I'll be honest here, a lot of the characters in this movie are either fucking stupid, barely memorable, or memorable but you can't remember their names. For example, there's this guy that is one of the most hateable characters in this movie because he's an absolute dick, but also a complete moron. He secretly brings a lithium power bank inside his luggage, even though he's had multiple safety warnings beforehand, and because he did it, it blows up inside the cargo bay and causes the plane to crash. But don't worry, as he gets karma being eaten by a shark towards the end of the movie. Next, people that are fucking stupid are a couple that have now become step-parents to each other's kids. During the flight, they decide to leave their kids unattended to, and get this, have sex inside one of the plane's bathrooms. Which causes their deaths later in the movie, because guess what? The moment the plane crashes, they're in there fucking like animals and hurt their heads against the bathroom mirror. When they woke up, their part of the plane was submerged, and once they opened the bathroom door, they got flooded from ocean water, and got eaten by the sharks once they reached the surface. Because they had sex, they orphaned their kids, these fucking idiots. So yeah, here's a life lesson for you. Do not have sex inside a plane. Now, an example for someone that is not much memorable unless you paid attention. There is a character in this movie that is a vet, and I thought, okay, maybe she'll be useful to help against the sharks, but nope. She does nothing. All she's done is yell against the moron who crashed the plane, and she ends up with a guy that we see her barely talk to, and that has no role in this movie whatsoever. Well, what about the ones that are memorable and not stupid, you might ask? Well, there's the plane's pilot, that's played by Ben Kingsley, but he dies at the beginning of the movie, and you only remember him because, well, he's played by Ben Kingsley. Then there's one of the flight attendants, that's cool. She helped save one of the kids. I think her name was Zoe? Finally, there's the flight's first officer, who's just the movie's badass MVP. Final thoughts on the characters? None of them are that deep. They serve their roles in the story or are cannon fodder for the sharks. One character that had potential in this movie is the first officer. He's struggling to cope with his son's terminal illness, so he focuses on work. During the movie, he's a father-like figure to one of the kids, which is a little girl. And the rest is pretty predictable. Due to the relationship he develops with the little girl, he decides to return home to his own kids. So yeah, the characters in this movie are not what is going to make this movie interesting. Anyways, let's switch to the story. Now for the story, it has pacing issues, and I don't think it's due to the runtime, since it is nearly 2 hours long. I just think it doesn't focus on what they should have focused on. A good part of the start of this movie is set on the plane and the airport before the crash. I mean, yeah, it sets up the characters, but once it's done, there's not enough time to develop what's important. For example, in the movie, there's beef between the captain of the esports team and the jock because they acted like a dick towards another member, which is a girl he obviously loves, and of course they have a quick interaction about it, but the jock's coach intervenes and prevents a fight. And then later down the movie, after the crash, the captain proposes they move towards the back of the plane because they were making the front heavy and it would sink. The back is submerged in water, so when the coach and a friend of the jock get at the back, they get eaten by sharks. The two guys got into a fight, which was stopped by the first officer, thankfully, but after that they still had beef with each other, of course. But because the captain saved the jock, later in the story, they suddenly become best buds, as if nothing happened. This could have been better if they had better pacing. Like, these guys act as if he didn't literally harass the girl the team captain loves the day before. If this movie had better pacing, it could have shown the growth. Like, maybe after Jock gets saved, they have an understanding of each other and maybe become friends later on. Now, there are many other things in the story that do not really pay off because of the story's pacing, but I do not have time to say them all, so I will get to my final thoughts on this movie. Final verdict on this movie? I think it's alright. Even though I have problems with the many flaws I pointed out, I had fun with it. Honestly, it is a movie where it is better to turn off your brain and enjoy the sharks snacking on people. I think this movie is definitely not the next Jaws, but it has a few things in common with its cousin Deep Blue Sea, where it's fun to just enjoy the ride. In the end, I give this movie a D+, but that is just my opinion. So feel free to share your thoughts on Deepwater down below in the comments. That being said, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and click on the bell. This was HACKERSAURUS. Bye bye.